This makes me think of Sparta.
Persia, 3000. Signing up, setting, done, redirecting. We are live.
Let me post it.
Posting. I'm popping it out. The chizat. I like having it off to the side. Got good feng shui. What's up, man? It's me. Hey, it's me. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Just getting everything set up. This is Sparta.
Whoops.
Good evening. Good evening. Hey. Yes, my friend.
Post it to my guys.
Oh, what's up, Austin? Thanks, bruh. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you coming back and checking us out. We have Ford Boss Me and CP's Garage. My contacts are really picking me right now. We have a TSB that I'd like to talk about tonight regarding some trans shifting concerns with the 10-speed, and specifically the 2020. I got a 2020, and the build date is actually anything before this date in 21. Bob, welcome. So, what's up, Penske? I sent an invite out to Mr. DS. We'll see if he'll join tonight. I guess we can start with the TSB. Let me get it pulled up here. Now you guys can chat here in the comments here. Bring. I don't have the way to do that, I guess. This says 10R140 harsh engagements, harsh shifts, delayed shifts with or without DTC. So you're going to have to ask yourself a question if you're experiencing any of those things. And if you are, it states right in here, the issue says some 2020 F Super Duty vehicles equipped with a 10R140 may exhibit a harsh engagement, harsh shift, delayed shift. It is possible the vehicle may also have an illuminated check engine light with a bunch of these codes specific to the trans. And actually, one of the codes, if you guys remember, there is a reprogram available that I did to DS's trucks transmission, and that actually took care of a ninth gear concern. It was all software. It says this may be due to sticking valves in the main control valve body. And there are some steps and procedures it wants you to go through. This is something that Ford Boss Me and I are very familiar with, and Cody as well, when we are going through the service procedures to help diagnose these. There is a database that we can plug your VIN in and pull up the latest bulletins and recalls and service information, workshop manual, so on and so forth. And there's some questions depending on what build date. It looks like you are either going to be overhauling the main control or doing the accelerated main control brake units with FDRS, and it's a bunch of like drive cycle type stuff. Fortunately, I don't think DS has had any other issues with the shifting. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have heard about it. But I hope you get sponsorship for your bubbly. Myself, I mean, I have some weird shifting going on. I think it's just a characteristic of the 10-speed. I don't think I necessarily have a problem going on. Sometimes it'll be, I think like the 3, 4, 5 maybe. I should check to see if it has an update. I haven't had time to. But it was something I saw pop up today, and fourth gear. Yeah, mine kind of too. Yeah, maybe you guys need to get an update, or at least maybe get the adaptive shift strategies. I know, Rich, have you ever done one of those? I got a Raptor actually that I probably should look at tomorrow. You ever done the drive cycle where you got to learn the transmission? You drive it with the scan tool hooked up and monitor the specified functions in the transmission. You ever done
I
that
mean,
one?
not exactly like that. Just
No.
relearn adaptive strategy. We do it. Our trains guy has us do it a different way. He doesn't want us going through the extent of monitoring everything. He has us reset the strategy and then drive it under 2,000 RPM and make sure it gets a real nice, good shift. Don't try to like load up the motor or anything, and just make sure you're feeling every single shift as you're going through. Drive slow enough to do that. And then as you progressively get into your test drive, increase your load a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and let it learn slowly as you're going through it. And I've had great success with that, but not monitoring all the PIDs like you're talking about.
Yeah. That makes me, it reminds me of, do you remember Cody might remember the trans recall in the older Explorers where you had to put that additive up in the bottle through the little fill port in the bottom of the transmission? You remember doing
do
those at
not.
all? No? That's what it reminds me of. Oh, Hammer Down Motorsports. What's up, my man? My 22 has been shifting great so far. Puts the gap on many unsuspecting people trying to pass me. I bet it does. I was able to catch a glimpse of your video of you showing, around your truck, and I like, brother. I like. My buddy just got his King Ranch and Antimatter Blue. That's what I really like that. Definitely a good choice. An adaptive relearn can help, but that may also be a band. That's true. That's true. That's true. Ford Boss means what he's saying is correct. Yep. The TCM motorcycle put trans. Yeah. Yeah. It says when we do these reprograms, or if you bring your vehicle in for a recall, underneath the like labor operation or whatever, it'll say right in there, advise the customer that there is going to be firmer than usual shifts due to the programming, and it may take several days for this to clear up. So I always try to let the customer know, either in my story or if I make it a chance to see him if he's picking his vehicle. Hey, just want to let you know your truck's going to be shifting a little funky for a little bit. Just drive it. It's going to relearn how your driving habits are, and don't worry about it. What's first new Ford? Yeah. Oh, well, congratulations. Yeah, that's definitely a good choice. I haven't watched too many of the truck videos, but I don't know if you're familiar with Forescan. It might be something you'd want to check out, especially for that. There's a lot of things you can do to personalize your truck with the sounds and lights, and some people don't want this on, some people want this on. But if you want to get down on that, or if you don't know what that is, email me, and I can get you set on the right path. Personal experience architect. Yeah, that's funny. I've heard another guy say just that phrase. He's saying if you had a 6R140, he's seeing it take about 2 tanks of fuel to eventually learn all the shifting points as it was before.
If you don't have an automatic, you don't have to do that stuff. all hear the manuals. It just sucks that they can't make a manual strong enough. That's going, well, they can. They just can't make one strong enough that's going to be quiet enough for that truck.
I think a lot of the problem is exactly what A-Rod said when he was talking about all that going on. You know, you get 10 gears and you've got a transmission and a computer and a driver with, you know, a certain amount of demand and stuff like that going on. And you pack 10 gears into a transmission and, you know, there's a lot going on. And since it's been out, since it's been out with most manufacturers, people have always said, man, I don't know about this. Why can't we go back to a 6-speed, or why can't we go back to, you know, something else that I'm more comfortable with? Because there's just so much in between me putting my foot into the throttle, expecting a computer to know exactly what I want, and then you got 10 gears to go through, and it's supposed to be precise. I get it. Technology, we should have advanced enough by now. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot going on in one transmission with 10 gears. I personally don't like it. But it is what it is.
From what I understand, the theory is it's just hunting for the right load. And unfortunately, that's what happens. It'll change with whatever you do. So
yeah, when we had that actually a part disassembled, I had never seen a 10-speed opened up, and it just the amount of stuff that was in there. And one guy just commented, he's like, the reason why he's not senior master is because he says F transmission. I'm like, I don't want to do transmission either. There's a lot of stuff. Rich is exactly correct. It's just so much going on, and then the exhaust brake, and then tow haul, and like electronics. Like there's got to be so many different like not shift combinations, but like trans strategies. There's tow haul. There's that. A Tremor's got mud and crawl, or whatever the heck they call it, sand and snow or whatever. A lot going on, needless to say. But I still need to see if my truck is covered under the 20B31. I never got a notice, and I don't think it's under, my VIN's under it. So I don't know if I have anything to worry about. Howdy, American Truck Nation. He says, mine's harsher on 5th gear engagement ever since I bought it. Gets smoother the more throttle you give it, but goes back harsher babying it. Are you riding around in eco, or are you just riding around in normal? A lot of my driving, I've got about 16,500 miles on it. The majority of it's been in eco. I can tell a difference. It's definitely, I don't want to say detuned, but like if I am taking off, if I'm taking off from a light and it's first, second, and I'll hit it in eco, and I keep the same throttle input, I can notice for my accelerator input that I haven't changed. The power output of the truck is different. Like if you go and you put it back into normal real quick, you can see the difference. Tearing down, see, he knows. Austin knows it. That's crazy stuff right up in there.
yes, it is.
Normal mode, okay. It doesn't happen typically in eco. Okay, interesting. I wonder. Rock crawl and mud ruts, I believe. That's right. This guy got it.
You had a guy in here, one of your members. He asked his 12.67 started to leak from the front of the engine. Anything to look for, or just had oil change done like a week ago?
Oh yes, I would be checking the vacuum pump. If you look, so look where the leak is on the front of the engine, and try to look up the front of the engine. You know, think of it as a block, like a block, really, like a block. You want to look where the belts are at. You want to look at that face of the block and see if you see oil leaking farther up, that's a good indication that your vacuum pump. I've had trucks come in, oh, my propane leaking. Nah, actually, buddy, your vacuum pump gaskets blew out. Tear it down, and I bet your vacuum pump bolts are loose. Not that it had anything to do with your oil change, but could have been a coincidence.
And
I
if
think the
you
guys who did the oil change would have cleaned it off, but
if you want to know for sure, there's nothing wrong with using the diesel oil dye uh, to make sure. Just make sure everything's clean, and then
Mhm.
run it, and then try to get a UV light if you can't identify it right away, and it'll show its face if you can see it.
Speaking of the dye, he brought up a really good point. The new dye they have actually shows up white. So when you're looking at your engine and it's dark, not I'm saying when you're looking in the engine crevices, but with your black light, the oil leak is going to show up bright white. It used to be like a orange, the dye that we use, but the Rotunda has come out. Ford's parts tools, they have came out with a new UV light dye that shows up bright. You know what I'm talking about, Rich, right? Have you used that one?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's better.
Yep.
It's better than the older stuff.
way better. So it's worth
Yep.
going to the dealer and getting the good stuff, because
It
you'll
lights
have
up like a light bulb.
yeah, you have way better luck finding your oil leak. Gentlemen, why is my PSD's oil getting coal black very soon after oil change? Good question. You know, I somebody either asked me or I saw it in a comment, and I just didn't respond. But you know, there's a lot of uh, so EGR and CCV. We have EGR on this side of the engine and CCV gases on this side of the engine. When the computer over here on the cowl says EGR, I want you to flow, it's going to go into the lower intake manifold, and then it's going to get hit with all this wet CCV oil. So this combination is going to go into the engine. Well, when we change our oil and we see all that black, well, what is that? That's soot. What else, Rich? That's the contaminants from combustion.
Yeah.
That's the additives, the detergents, and all this stuff mixed together. Just that's what the color winds up being. So,
And you have to think as well. It's whenever you you have something such a large scale as a 6.7. There's so many nooks and crannies and moving parts and stuff that are going on there. You're never going to be able to get that engine completely clean. Now, I could tell you right now, if you took and run, and I'm not telling you to go do this, if you took and ran a bunch of cleaner through there and you cleaned it and you cleaned it and you cleaned it and you got it crystal clean with everything out of it, you could change your oil one time and it might be clear after running for a while, or nice and cleaner than you would expect. But after running it, 3, 4, 500 miles, is going to look the same anyway. There's a lot going on there. CCV, AGR stuff, that engine being as massive as it is, with all the nooks and crannies where all the old oil sits, and as dark as it gets mixing with fresh oil, it's never going to be clear.
yeah, he lost it. Yeah, it's almost like Cody's, or use Cody's as an example. His has got 2 more quarts than a 6.7, but he's also got a reservoir that is holding what?
Quart.
2 quarts?
A
2.5
quart.
quarts? Oh, a
It's about a-
quart?
It's about a quart up top in the reservoir and about a quart on each head.
Okay.
So,
So
3
when
quarts.
if you took a 5-gallon bucket and dumped your 15 quarts in there, and then dumped 3 quarts of used oil, assuming the used oil is the oil that's in the heads and the reservoir, and then get you a paint stirrer and stir that sucker up, I mean, that oil is going to turn black right away. That's essentially what is happening. And it's like, there's no way. It's like you'd have to have a completely rebuilt engine, remove your EGR, remove your CCV, and run your truck. It's like kind of hard to. We need one of those like how it's made CAD, do all them little, and then see the insides of stuff to show you guys. But I think you get the idea. This guy says he's going to check in the morning. I had a customer get a hold of me, a client, complaining that he's not thinking his exhaust brake is working correctly. He feels that he's not getting that sensation of slowing down, whether it's on auto, exhaust brake is on. I've never had that concern before. I have replaced the switch once. It was on a 16 F350 dually, but I actually had a code for that. So I'm interested to see what is going on with the, like, I don't know what, I've never had that before. It's kind of a weird concern because it's either going to work or not, but maybe he's got a code in it. I don't think the check engine light was on the last one I had. It just had a exhaust switch code or exhaust brake performance code or something. I don't know. Hammer down motorsports. Every diesel I have worked on, it's usually black on first startup, especially equipment like cats. Yep, I just don't know. Yeah, and then the guys are going to be installing the oil bypass filter. Yep, 2 micron or less. Yep. Van Norman 111. That's a good question. They do have gaps. I don't know what keystone style piston rings are.
Look it up in the coffee table book, please.
Oh yeah.
We got that great reference.
The coffee table book video was a really good one. There's so much, even flying wrenches today. If you guys haven't seen Mason, he was on the live stream a couple times ago. He's another Ford tech in Alabama, and he had just posted today oil flow in the 6.7 and that giant upper oil pan. That is the upper. I just got done doing an upper oil pan. Somebody came and saw me. If you're know where Michigan is, this gentleman came from all the way over here, and I am all the way over here. So he came from a little more than an hour away to have me do his upper oil pan. And that is what Mason had shown in his YouTube short. And that is, I mean, I guess you could call it a girdle. It's not, has nothing to do with the main bearings or anything like the 6-liter did, the 6.4, but it is an aluminum, a rigid aluminum piece that bolts to the bottom of the block that is held in with sealant, with RTV, and it also houses the oil pickup and has a passage that goes to the pump and then goes back to the oil cooler, does a little circulation and goes through another passage, goes to the oil filter, goes through to another passage, and then goes up to lubricate everything. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the upper oil pan. And yeah, they're leaking. And we kind of went over that with the prep, the kind of silicone you're using. And when I took this dude's upper oil pan down, he had just bought the truck. I don't know. I want to say, what up, Fred? I want to say maybe 20,000 miles ago, and he's got 83,000 miles on it. So he's a first-time Super Duty guy, and has no, hey, FLMAZ, what up? Just got the trans out, and it looked like somebody thought this was his tub in his bathroom, and there was so much silicone smeared on the gap. I'm like, What? He hadn't told me because he didn't know, so I wasn't anticipating it had already been done. But somebody, not good prep work. Once I got the pan down, used way too much silicone. Like I think there was more silicone on the inside of the pan than was actually squeezed out on the outside of the pan. So I don't know what this guy was doing. But the upper oil pan is a big important piece. And I just wish you didn't have to take the trans out to do it. It's such a pain in the butt. I mean, I guess it's not really a pain in the butt. I just don't like juggling 800 pounds on this little rod, or this not rod, this post. And I'm moving it, and my floor, I don't know why it's my stalls, my 2 stalls. I'll have to show you guys. I'm going to do a video on my floors. Just my 2 stalls are like we have you seen the floors, they're all white, they're all epoxy. It's like somebody got a hammer and like just busted the floor up. And every time I'm rolling the trans, like I can't move the trans smooth back. And I almost tipped over my roll around cart one time. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So I just if I got to do it, I got to do it. I just really like to, hey buddy, can you come help me roll this trans? I got to interrupt this dude. Hey, you get the trans bottom. I'm gonna hold the trans, and we're gonna, go back just enough so I can work over here underneath the engine. But
Do you have one of those fancy Norelco trans remover adapters for your trans jack, or is it just the flat based?
we just have the flat base. I did not know that there was an adapter for that.
Yes, there is, and you don't even need
Ooh.
a strap. That thing holds it in.
I mean, we have arms that slide, but I don't think that's what you're talking about.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Norelco.
Oh, you
People
need to
that
send
make
me
your
a link
engine.
to that.
That thing's slick.
DS truck says I'd have to lay on my back and do it. Cool. Go live, bro. Come on, DS. Yeah, I had a guy tell me that he was doing it in his driveway, pulling a trans on a 6.7.
I did my ZF5 on the side of the road.
Ooh.
I mean,
Ooh. Anthony, I think Anthony said he had to do one at ComEd or something on an ambulance, on a 2-wheel drive ambulance. He said he had to do upper oil pan and pull the trans. Didn't have some sort of equipment. I don't know what he was talking about. I just remember saying he was a pain in the butt.
Norelco also has a diesel exhaust adapter for the trans jack for the torpedoes.
Listen to this guy, Fred. Listen to this guy. Had a leaking upper oil pan today and got to say, send it to the dealer. One of the best feelings I had in a long time. You, man, I'm coming for you, man. This guy, I can't believe this guy. That's real good. That's real good. Oh, Christ. What's this guy say? I just got my S&B
I want to
folder.
insert something real quick.
Insert.
So I no issue of mine, but let's be careful about some of the tuner stuff that we talk about in the chat, guys. Just be careful with what you say. Let's just put it that way. About the EGR and the emission stuff and everything else. Just be very, very careful of that with how they've been watching everything lately. Let's make sure we clean it up.
Clean it up. The S&B, nice. Definitely a nice upgrade. My client's liking his. My coworker just ordered one for his 6.7 and got that installed. What's this? Yeah, big difference. Even with the airflow.
The exhaust brake, that is the best sound ever.
I never seen a big smile on an old man.
So Fred officially left where he was at, and he's gone now. No longer has to deal with it.
That's
Congrats.
awesome.
Congrats to him.
Oh, Fred. I think he knows old meat man Matt. the silicone warriors. Ah, that's funny. I didn't see that one. That's funny. Oh man.
I sent you the link in the chat.
Yep,
For
I
the
see it. I
Transjack.
see it. I'll have to check that out.
Dude, we have an independent guy that came to the shop, and he absolutely loves resealing those Power Stroke upper and lower pans. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And he's like, dude, I don't have to think about nothing. I put my music on, everybody, and I'm done, man. The dude is nuts. He's all over the place. Trans is out, freaking pans down, everything's all cleaned up and shoved back together. I'm like, what the hell? He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
Yeah, they can be. I'd say I'd probably rather do an Illuma-Duty, because I wind up being able to jack the engine up a little easier on the passenger side. So I'll jack up the motor mount and stick, a socket between the mount and the K member. But when you do like an 11 through 16, I mean, I can still jack the motor up, but I can't get the one bolt out because the AC compressor's in the way. So I'm forced to take the nuts off the K member like you would originally. But I have a long enough ratchet with a little medium deep 10 mil that I'm actually able to get right underneath it, break it loose, and then I can fit my little hands and actually work that bolt out. So kind of got a different technique for 11 through 16, but the Illuma-Duty one, definitely glad to have made a little minor adjustment in what I do with jacking. I never used to jack the motor, but I know the workshop manual says to do it, but I was still able to do it like I was doing the 11 through 16. It's just they made it just a little harder.
You see that some of the people seen it. I know it's not a diesel, but somebody told me today that they've had the 2.7 liter oil pan gasket update oil pan out since 2018, and I have not seen that since 2018.
For what?
I posted. I was like, hey, look, guys, kind of PSA for those of you with a 2.7 EcoBoost F-150. They actually have a plastic pan that you don't have to use silicone anymore. It's a gasketed, and they even updated it in PTS under the instructions. And it says if you're having to replace it, just remove the pan, replace the gasket, and put it all back together. They actually have a gasket that is now listed as replaceable and a new updated pan. And there was another tech that popped up, and he said, well, they've had that out since 2018. I said, I've never, out of all the oil pans that I've resealed, I've never seen an updated 2.7 EcoBoost oil pan. Never one time. Came out today, I get. Well, the first one I seen was today, but now they're on back order because so many people are ordering them.
Everything is.
Intergalactic back order. I have a 6079 Echo on back order and like with no ETA, no time coming off, and there's like 250 of them ordered ahead of this one.
You said an Echo? Oh, an
The-
Amazon Echo?
No, Echo as in like E. It's the
So-
engine gasket kit for a long block.
TJ 5130, one of your members here, said, Ford Bus, did you get the diff cover off that 350 yet? So the update with that was I rode in the bed, pouring rain. It was comical. All the technicians were laughing at me when I
It was
came back
comical.
in the shop. And I had one of the loop techs drive Anthony's truck, really respectable kid, and he's not an idiot. I made sure I picked the right one. And we drove around and drove around and drove around. And about 15 minutes into the drive, the rear diff started getting a little warm, not too warm. And then the sound started. And then the more I moved around inside the bed of the 350, the more I could pinpoint it right behind or right underneath the tailgate area. So Anthony still has the plastic covers on his fifth wheel. I mean, it's a brand new truck. He hasn't even really had a chance to enjoy the truck yet. And
Nothing.
I peeled the plastic back from one of the holes, and I stuck this extended ear of mine, the extendo. I stuck
His
it down.
cornucopia.
I stuck it down inside the hole, and I'm listening right above the diff because the back set of holes for the fifth wheel setup is right above it, and it was like right in my damn ear. And then I turn around, and I'm looking inside the damn hole as I'm sliding all over the bed, and I'm trying to stay with all the rain, and I'm like this, and I watch every time you get out of the throttle or you hit the brake and the diff starts to pitch down just a hair, the sound would almost magnify. But you don't really even have to hit the brake. You can just let it downshift. And as it starts to pitch down just a hair, you would get that vibration, that almost metallic sound coming from the rear end. So I was like, you know what, the hell with this. I'm pulling it back in the shop again. After we drove it, get it back in the shop, the fill plug has the magnet on it. And as soon as I pull out the fill plug, it was covered in metal. It was just a big giant mound of shaving metal all around it, like gummy metal. And then I pulled the drain plug out and I caught a sample of it. And it was just nothing but glitter flakes and metallic gray metal. And it was just full of fluid.
That was a good video. You're like, pull it back out. Let me see that plug. Let me see that plug.
Yeah. I wanted to see if there were little sparkles and stuff and like chunks of metal caught in the ridges. And sure enough, there was. You can see little chunks of metal and haze and of the debris where it had been rubbing off inside that. So I submitted to Ford, and I'm assuming because of the holiday on Monday, it's taken them a little bit longer to get back to me. But I actually asked them, I'm requesting for your blessing on an entire rear end for this thing, not just rebuild it. I want a whole entire rear end if that's okay. And it's the LTIS. Didn't Cody say it was like 3 years, 36 or whatever on those?
On powertrain is 336. I think that's just trans and engine.
Okay. So I submitted for it and I'm just waiting for a reply back. And I did keep pictures, and I even still have the sample that I pulled out of it, which is full of metal, and it's still sitting on top of my box in case, I don't know, for some reason they want to see it, whatever it may be.
Ejecto seat, cuz.
Yeah, that axle might take a minute to get if you're trying to get a complete one. Dana's going through some problems.
We just had our first one that I told A-Rod about, where we were doing the axle inspection where the U-bolts crushed the tubes. And we had one come in right when I was talking to him about it, either the morning before, and then like the next day, one came in for the inspection. And sure enough, on the front side of the passenger side, where you're looking at the rear axle tube, it had crushed the tube so much that it started to egg shape on one side. Instead of it being round like it's supposed to, it was doing one of these numbers where it was pushing out more on a, like a, what do you call, like an egg shaped design instead of round. So that condemned it right away. And then on the other side, on the back side of the driver's side axle tube, it was pushed out, and we had to wait, I think it was 2.5 to 3 weeks or something like that to get a whole entire, shell so we could rebuild everything and put it all back together.
Oh.
So you had to put the old stuff into a new, well, I guess it wouldn't be that old, but the spider gears and all that stuff had to go into a new housing.
Everything that was good, yeah, but you do have the discretion if you see something that's wrong. Obviously, you're not going to, press out the bearing races and stuff like that. We got all new bearing races and we didn't reuse any of the stuff. I think he ended up getting new bearings, and I don't know what all was involved with it. I got to touch base with the tech tomorrow because I seen him tonight working late trying to put it all together.
Yeah, that sucks.
That poor rear end. I was talking to Anthony yesterday on the phone, and I kind of think, so like, remember in your video when you showed, you're like, hey, look at me, yo, hey,
Yeah.
I need you to spin this up. I mean, that thing was wobbling. So not only did it get you when it had 1,300 miles on it, you're watching it wobble. And I mean, think of what's happening, what we're seeing on the outside, what's happening on the inside. I'm picturing if you wind up having to take that thing all apart, that that pinion bearing, I bet the cage or something has come apart and or is sitting, it's grooved into the race, into the axle housing now. So I bet you, I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see what actually failed in there as a
Yeah.
result of that vibration. Because I mean, think how much force that's supposed to be when it's, just supposed to be spinning, nice and true. And so, what? What?
And it was exactly what Anthony said. He explained it to me to the T. When you start to hear it, when it's cold, you wouldn't really hear it. But once you started driving it around a little bit and you started getting a little warmth going on it, you start getting that warm and fuzzy inside that rear end, that fuzzy.
That fuzz.
It would start to make that sound, and it would almost sound like it was coming from the trans. If I'm the owner of the vehicle, of course I'm going to be a little emotional about it because I just paid, $80-some thousand or whatever, $80,000 for a brand new vehicle. I'm going to have things going on in my head too, but I can't think that way when I get the vehicle. I have to think objectively. I have to think like I'm trying to be a detective, diagnose this thing the right way when one or two other places have let him down. I don't want to be the guy. Plus, there's even more pressure on my shoulders because you send him to me. I'm like, oh God, I really gotta, I really gotta take care of this now. I cannot send this guy away. So
He told me when he drove with when he was driving, he got out and felt that rear end and said it was way too hot. Like he said, he's felt rear ends before, and
Yeah.
they're warm, they're hot, but not like not
Yeah.
that should not be. There's something going on in there.
Yeah.
That'd have been cool to have like a GoPro attached down there and go for a road test or just to see just a different angle of what it would look like going down the road.
And that makes sense why when I hooked the Steelman, the wireless chassis ears, it sounded like it was resonating from the leaf springs, but I couldn't really hear it anywhere else. I couldn't hear it on the trans. I couldn't hear it anywhere through the body. But when I would put it on the leaf springs, I was like, man, this is really sounding like it's coming from the leaf springs. But the more I looked into it, the more I was like, is it really coming from the leaf springs though? I would think a leaf spring would make like a popping sound or like a distinct tapping or loose sound, but this is like a rotational metallic.
And then what did
Not
you
like-
see on the side? It was the passenger side front part of the leaf spring. Was it actually like did you wind up putting grease in that?
I did. I ended up putting grease. Actually, I went to the extent I said, I'm not even going to take a damn chance. I'm going to unload the spring and I'm covering the whole damn leaf pack in grease just to see if it goes away. So I covered from top to bottom, from side to side with just
No
nothing
kidding.
but grease.
Rear ends can be spicy. See. What's up, John? What up? How's Vinny doing? I had talked to him like about a month ago. He called me with a transit question. Got dumped like a truck.
That's right, boy.
Is that John?
Boy.
That's funny.
Oh,
The title tonight, PTT and Ford Boss Me, Ford Tech's making a difference. Myself, Ford Boss Me, Flying Wrenches. We are, trying to put some content out. We are all trying to put some content out. We're trying to make a difference in the Ford community. We're trying to get the public back in trustness with coming back to the dealer and getting their Ford vehicles serviced and having hopes that they're not going to get hassled. I know I've heard it all too before. I'm going to the dealer, the service advisor is pulling my chain. Da, da, da. Ah, man, I can't tell you how many times I hear it. And with the service that Rich and I provide with our customers, the one-on-one, down to the repairs, like we were just talking about. One of my followers reached out to me now that I've been talking to Rich, and coincidentally is in his area, we were able to coordinate, you know, a repair to try and ensure customer satisfaction with this guy who just got a brand new 22 on order, waiting patiently like everybody else has been waiting. And, you know, ultimately we're going to make it right. But, you know, having picture this, if he didn't know Rich or didn't know myself, he already knows what he's going to have to deal with. His buddy is actually dealing with a problem with his King Ranch that's got 1,000 miles on it with his flip up center console. And the dealer that he's going to is giving him a runaround. And he's like, oh my God, if I had to bring my truck to that dealer, I'm so glad I could brought it to Rich. That guy would have been just giving me the experience is most important to me. That's the reason why I don't like SPE. The
I think a lot of-
experience for me.
I think a lot of stuff, it kind of goes back to what one of the key points that Cody brought up last time when we were talking about a lot of guys are scared to even do anything because they're afraid that they're not going to get compensated for it. And if they learn to use what's available to them through M time and stuff like that, I have been hammering that. I have been hammering the hell out of it and staying honest and true to the entire thing whenever I claim my time and stuff. Whenever situations like this arise that are not normal, you can get paid to do that stuff. Technicians need to be conscious of that. They need to be aware that don't lie about it, use it accordingly. And that's what it's there for. It's there for situations that are hairy like this, that there's not an obvious pinpoint test or a diagnosis for. Sometimes you got to dig deeper and they will take care of you. You just got to do the legwork to get it taken care of. That's it.
Punch that clock, write that story.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Make sure
I'm not-
it's legit. I mean,
I'm not saying every dealership is like that, but it seems like that's all I hear. And when I have people driving across the United States to have me work on their vehicle, I want to. Thank you so much. But there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to stop at your closest Ford dealer and get your truck fixed right the first time. You bring it in for a problem and it leaves without that problem. It leaves with the same cleanliness. It leaves with no bangs and dents. Like, people, come on, really? Really? Like, it gets
So-
annoying to hear that. Like, what is going on out here?
Prius said the M time is only as good as the warranty admin who submits the claim, unfortunately. I mean, I can see how most people would think that, or some people would think that, but that's not it. You write that story and you clock that time and you submit it and you demand that it gets sent in. That's how it
Mhm.
works. And a warranty admin doesn't have any kind of legislation on whether or not your M time gets sent in or not. If there's no pinpoint test, you've been in contact with Ford, there's a hotline case, you're getting paid. At the end of the day, that's how it works. You demand your time, you demand to get paid. You did your job and you clocked your hours, you wrote your story, you were honest about it, you're getting paid. That's it.
Put it in your story. You document it. You say you replaced it.
That's it.
It better be in your story. You say you did this test. It better be in the story. And your test results better be in the story. That's it. If you say you're doing a road test, you better make sure your GD mileage is changed on the RO and it's
Yep.
changed in the story.
yep.
You better everything.
The pen is mightier than the
Everything.
repair.
It's
love- You make more money with the pen than you do with the repair. I mean, as long as you know your stuff, you'll make more money.
Well, look at all these guys that were doing like APIMs and stuff like that. They're like, oh man, it only pays point this and point that. Do you not read Ford's, like, all
ST
of their
SLST or whatever it is.
SLST? I mean, there's a provision for pulling a vehicle in. There's a provision for hooking a vehicle up. There's a provision for a pinpoint test. There's a provision for replacing it. There's a provision for clearing codes and making sure everything's set and legit when you're done, that the repair did work. They have a provision for everything, but you have to be willing to look up that labor op code. If you don't have a warranty admin that may not know everything all the time anyway, that's your job as a technician to make sure you're getting paid. And if you have to educate your warranty admin that maybe do last minute cleanup to make sure you did get everything put in there, It's not, there's no 0.8 or 0.9. I don't know how many times I've done an APIM and other guys are saying they got paid 0.8 or 0.9. I'm like, really? Bro, I just got paid 1.9, 2.2, 2.3 because everything that I did was in my story. It was legit. It was documented. And this is what Ford actually pays to do the job. If you just take a couple seconds to look things up, you can see that you're shortcutting yourself.
It comes down to laziness,
Yeah.
is really what it comes down to. We have all the information in front of us, and it's up to you to connect the dots to make it work.
Yeah.
It's all in there. We have what Rich just said, a SLTS, Service Labor Time Standard. It freaking has everything in it. It's even got a little alphabet at the top. So if you don't know where it's at, you can search by it alphabetically or search by what's the other thing to the side? Search by group or something. If it's electronics or if it's front end.
Part number.
Yeah, part number. But truth to what you said about backing up your story still won't always stop what you're doing to have to explain it to the WA. I mean,
I'll take the 3/10 to explain it.
yeah. See,
I want all my monies. I mean,
Ford
I
has
think-
even went to the extent of saying if you have to pair a customer's phone to their APIM and you write that in your story, you are getting paid for it. As long as it's documented and everything that you're doing is legit, you have labor times for it, and you've been in communication with people higher than you, higher than your dealership, especially when it gets to sensitive topics. I even talked to a engineer that looks at warranty, M time and stuff like that, an escalated guy, and he said it's like this. If you're telling me and you're communicating with me back and forth, and I know you're trying, even if I don't like something that you put in your story, I'm the one that gets to say yes or no if it seems legit most of the time. I'm not going to fight you. You've been a fighting soldier through the entire process of trying to figure this whole thing out. Why would I say no to your pay? It's the guys that put a bunch of stuff in there and they don't justify why they're getting paid that I have a problem with. But if you're trying and you're communicating and we're talking and I can get a hold of you and you're writing your story and stuff like that, there's no negotiating that. That's your time. They literally paid me 30 hours for a stupid $20 parking brake switch in an Explorer because I did nothing but communicate with them from the entire time, from start to finish. Right when the Explorers came out, I did everything that they asked me to do. I tried everything and I made a call at the end of it on myself. Give me the $20 switch. That's what fixed the problem. Ford looked back at everything and said, you know what? Pay him the money. He was communicating the whole entire time. He was talking to us the whole entire time. He did everything that he said he was going to do. We even sent an engineer out to work with him, couldn't figure out the problem. He figured it out, pay him the money. It's all documented. Just do your homework, write your story, be truthful with what you're doing. There's no negotiating that time.
It's services rendered. Job is done. The proof is in the parts returns. Like we have to turn these parts back in, and that is a big part of the warranty policy manual is that somebody in the parts department, a manager, some shop foreman or something have to sign off on the parts and have to inspect and make sure those were used parts and put back in for warranty return. That has to get signed off. It's just another thing. The job is done. The car is parked outside. If it was still messed up, the car, I wouldn't be turning these parts in the car. I wouldn't be in this scenario right now. So, it almost gets, I guess it's like kind of like just memory. It's like we get into these rhythms when we're working. It's like, we go and we get the car and then, we try to, it's everything we do is trying to be efficient. And I'm slowly teaching Austin the same thing to find that rhythm of you working and thinking about what your next step to. I'm not saying you're in deep diagnostics and trying to figure this out. Something you're doing. We were doing brakes today, and dude was flowing, and he's getting the air, and then he's getting this next tool, and then I'm not saying nothing. He's paying attention. It's being cognitive of what is going on with the job and knowing, oh, I got to go back and get this. Oh, wait, I need to go, and you're doing this cluster mess and this pussyfooting around. Hold on. Let's clean that mental slate and let's start over. Let's hit that reset. And that flow is going to get you, is what's going to move your whole day. And sometimes you have the flow, sometimes you don't. Sometimes here we go explaining DeVito's truck. That's not a cookie cutter job. Hook up IDS, pull code, do pinpoint test, boom, is done. This is going to take a little extra. This is one of those
And
weird.
Ford was fine with it. I was communicating with them. I left the lines open. They could get a hold of me whenever they wanted. They were cool with me explaining everything, how I was going about diagnosing everything. They didn't fight anything. They even said, "Hey, man, if you think that you got to replace the leaf, the packs on this thing, and that's where it's going, then that's what you got to do, man. I mean, if you can't grab another vehicle and compare it, because you may not have a 22, you may not have something comparable. Do what you got to do to make the customer happy." I mean, it's literally in the story from the engineers themselves. Like there's a point in time when you're looking at something where not even the engineers are not going to be perfect. They didn't think about every single scenario before that vehicle. And that's another thing that pops up is people are like, oh, couldn't they test, quality control better and all this other stuff? They can't keep a vehicle that long with 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, whatever it is to put on the back of this thing to make sure under this condition you're experiencing this particular incident that you don't like that may not be normal. They're not going to catch every little thing, so they are pretty understanding as long as you keep the communication lines open. That's all they're really asking.
Communication. The biggest miscommunication is not having communication at all.
What about this? What if a guy said, "Hey, I brought my truck in and he's not getting any results," and he goes into the service advisor and he says, "Well, let me see the technician's story." I would imagine they won't release that.
Well, he gets a copy of that when you get your truck, your
So
receipt.
the customer can get a copy of the story.
Yeah,
Yep.
you get a copy of that when you pick your vehicle up.
Interesting.
And my
Yeah.
dealer will let them talk to the technician. Our dealer's pretty good because all the guys at my dealer they're pretty articulate when they explain things. They're not jerks, and
That's cool.
they don't necessarily feel uncomfortable talking to people. So if there's an issue, every one of the technicians at my dealership, they'll be like, "Hey, look, this is where I started. This is what I tried. I tried to verify it your way. I couldn't get anywhere. I went through this pinpoint test. I tried to do this. I tried to do this. I'm not coming up with anything right now. I have updated all the hotline stuff. I've escalated it higher out of my hands because I can't really figure out anything right now. If you want to drive the vehicle, it seems like it's still safe to drive. Maybe something will get worse where it actually shows its face and becomes more apparent. Hopefully it doesn't become disastrous. And in the meantime, let me handle this on my end with, Ford. And we'll show them everything. We'll show them the paperwork, let them talk to the tech. We'll take them for rides. I mean, look at Anthony. He showed up day one, didn't even have an RO yet. And I told my service manager, "Hey, I'm going to go jump in the truck with this guy. I'm going to try to see what I can find out in a, my service manager like, cool, dude, just make sure you get your work done. We understand there's a customer that wants to get in here." And then eventually they were completely cool with it. There's certain dealers that are completely open with that. And then there's some dealers that may not know the entire situation or may not feel comfortable, but you do get a copy of everything that was wrote up. When that job is closed out, you get everything.
Okay.
Definitely. Most definitely. There was one thing that I was going to say. What did I just see here? This guy said lemon law. Oh, about the oil pressure. 2020 oil light was coming on. Says they swapped the sensor, started at 16,000. They didn't get it fixed until 30,000. They replaced the oil pump.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
Then he
Well,
had it bought back.
Did he really? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. After talking with Anthony, we had asked ourselves a question, kind of is interesting. That can't be the only truck I would bet there's got to be a batch, whether it was the drive shaft counterweight was messed up, the counterweight on the pinion shaft was messed up, or the pinion flange rather. Something was off. It didn't happen in the 1,300 miles that Anthony put on. This is what had to have happened from day one. I mean, I'm just speculating from the outside. I think there's got to be a batch of trucks, whether Ford is going to say or issue like I don't want to say a recall, but you know, hey, if you had a vehicle built between blank and blank, we got 30,000 trucks that have bad pinion flanges. And this is what's happening is they may have this grunt type noise or some sort of rear axle. First telltale sign is you lift that truck up, have your boy put it in gear and look at that thing go weeble wobble. And if you see that, there's a good indication that you may have the exact same thing going on as Anthony. I think he even said that some dude was talking to him on a forum and was having the exact same thing happening to his, but his was a single rear wheel. So I don't know.
Remember that TSB that I talked to you about that we didn't, it didn't apply to the 6.7. I don't know if Cody's seen it yet or not on the TSB charts for the 2021. I don't know if it's just 350s or 250s, but it specified gas engines. And it said something about a sound or something coming from the rear of the vehicle. And it specified replacing the pinion and counterweight assembly, but it did not have the 6.7 involved. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird because I'm dealing with that same issue right now, but it's on a diesel. Why would that not be in there as well? I mean, maybe obviously application setup would be different or could be different or whatever, however it was ordered. But there was something that I remember I read to you. I sent you that screenshot or whatever, and it specifically stated something to do with replacing the rear pinion flange counterweight assembly or something like that in the 6.2 and 7.3.
Well, what do you think, Cody? You had said something. What's going on with Dana? What are you thinking?
They were having problems last I knew. I think they fired everyone and they're moving shop or something to that effect.
You said they fired everyone?
Yeah, I think they fired everyone and are moving the factory that does the rear axles.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you say everyone, you talking production, you talking management,
The
production,
line.
and the line. Wow.
Yeah.
And those are press fit, those counterweights on that pinion. Hey, Rod, I think they're a press fit because whenever I pulled that axle assembly off, when I was talking to you about how to get that yoke off of there, because I didn't have the right tool and I was trying to come up with something, I put a 3-jaw puller on there and I started to pull and I noticed it pulled that counterweight straight. And I was like, wait a second here. It was cockeyed and I could see it when it was rotating, but I didn't realize until I started putting a little bit of pressure on it until it was off a little bit, it kicked it back straight and lined everything back up. And I was like, I wonder if they're just not getting pressed on correctly and they're trying to move this stuff along too quick. And it's like slamming them out and it's just left and right slamming them out and they're not quite getting them the way they're supposed to be set up.
That's a very good point. I wonder if somebody's not noticing that. And you just,
Right.
We're done. Get it out of here. We're done. Get it out of here. We're done. You know, maybe that quality check mark paint stick marker guy wasn't maybe he didn't see that. But regardless, it's gonna need an axle. A whole complete axle. Like the whole shebang. Like you might as well bring one from KTP and just drop it off fully loaded with the brakes ready to go.
That's probably what's going to end up happening.
That's
that
what.
housing, though,
That's how we got ours.
The housing's probably all right, right? Because you got one with crushed tubes, and you got one with messed up insides.
Yeah, the housing, I would say you could probably, if they wanted, if push came to shove and it was cheaper to justify the labor rate of knocking everything out of there and putting all new guts and stuff in there, but they may find out it ain't even worth it. The vehicle's got
To
such low
me,
mileage.
it seems highly specialized to do a full rebuild like that to a rear axle.
Yeah, but if that pinion bearing got messed up in that race of where it sits on that cup inside the pinion area, then you're gonna need a housing.
Right.
You're done anyway.
I think
And even
axle
at that, you know,
specialists.
would you want? I'm with you on that. I'm tracking that. I'm thinking that because of how these are put together, and these guys do it all the time, and they specialize in this, maybe it would be better to have a complete assembly sent. It's already spec'd out. It's already set up. There's less user error from somebody seeing it every single day over and over
Yeah.
and over again. But, you know,
When
maybe it is
you're-
better to have
when-
one.
When you're talking about an axle being put together, you're talking about using like paint and turning the gears and looking how they mesh together, and then different crush settings and all this specialized stuff. I mean, maybe during these part shortages, I wonder if there was a way that you could send some of this stuff out to some of these local specialists. We have a couple in our area that only do axles, and they would knock that stuff out for pretty cheap because they're just cheaper. I mean, that housing's worth some money right now.
Yeah.
Because you were just saying what one's got crushed tubes, but is this a dually
Yeah,
and the other
the
one's
one-
a single rear wheel?
Yeah, Anthony's
Yeah.
is a dually.
Anthony's is a dually, and the one that we have on the list right now is a new. It's either a 20. I think it's a 21 250, a single wheel, and it's got the crushed tubes. But once you release the pressure off the U-bolts and you take everything off of it, and it almost goes exactly back to a perfectly round shape. It's almost like the way they're being installed, either the axle tubes themselves are not up to par, or
Not
they're
thick enough?
torquing, or not thick enough, or they're torquing the hell out of those U-bolts to the point where one side is getting crushed more than the other. I don't know if maybe it's pulling more on one side and it's not distributing evenly, or because when you take all the pressure off the U-bolts, it almost went from an egg shape and went whoop, back to a circle, and it wasn't crushed anymore. I'm like, wait a second, either
Wow.
these are really weak axle tubes, or they're getting torqued way too damn tight. Who knows what it is? But I know there's a TSB out that says you're getting paid to replace them, and I'm in.
I mean, I would guess that it's probably weak axle tubes, but I mean, dang, how are you gonna torque it? I mean, come on, what's gonna torque it too tight?
This guy says, just call AutoZone. They can probably give you guys sound advice if the Ford tech line can't figure it out. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
You know what happens when I go to AutoZone? I walk into AutoZone and they're like, "Oh, you're that Ford guy that we learn all this stuff from." Yeah, I'm the one that you're learning how to tell your customers about what's going on with their vehicle.
If they only knew. Did one
Man.
with the crushed tubes have the recall done for the welding of the perches? Oh, we haven't done one yet.
So that's what it came in for, was the inspection for that. But when you're looking at the perches, there's like a second part that says, does it look like this? If it does look like this, even if the welding hasn't been done and they're egg shaped, it doesn't matter anyway. You're replacing it. There's no welding.
Ford boss, what do you think about that welding? Is it kind of how do you feel about that repair?
Do I have to answer that?
No,
I'm going
you
to tell
don't.
you, I'm not a welder. So you don't want me welding your. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not welding your axle.
I
If
can
you got a
weld it.
broken exhaust manifold stud, I can get that stud out for you, but I'm not welding your axle.
I can weld it, but what I'm thinking here is the perch is already welded all along the sides, and all you're doing is having me continue the weld around the front of it.
Mm-hmm.
you're not really going to distribute anything any more than what's already done, maybe a little bit, but you already have a compromised axle tube assembly.
Like
Why would
welding,
I?
it's not going to make the thickness difference.
Welding is not going to make the thickness difference. I honestly, I don't want to say what I think right now because I don't know who watches this channel, and I know they watch my channel heavily because they've already called the dealership to say certain things. But yeah, I don't think that welding it is going to fix anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I really question that decision. Whoever made that decision to weld, not that it's a bad repair or anything like that, but just knowing what I know about, like I was just saying, rebuilding an axle is a very specialized thing. So is welding. Knowing the temperatures, the penetration. I'm sure they tell you all that stuff anyway because they figured out all the settings probably for the welder, and they've probably figured out everything that they want. But just knowing that stuff is a whole nother can of worms. And you're talking about welding axles, like, I don't know. It's a very questionable
So
decision.
DS, one of the things that we didn't cover that I would probably add more to what maybe what you're thinking or the clarification on what you have to say is there's actually a provision in the TSB that says if you don't feel comfortable doing it, we will give you so much time of outsource where you can actually take the assembly to somebody and have them professionally do it. But then again, we're talking more time, disassembly, pulling it out, having somebody take it to somebody, and then
Risk
paying them
gets
to do
dropped.
Yeah.
It'd be
Pain in the butt.
interesting Maybe we could get an axle specialist if we can find one to come on and see what they say about it. Like, what do you? Because I've always looked at an axle tube on the solid axle, like one of the stronger parts of the whole vehicle. Like you could put a jack stand on an axle tube, rest the vehicle on it, or I had a boulder. I was driving down the road plowing one day. I had a boulder go up under the truck and hit the axle tube. Didn't do nothing to the axle tube. It was just loud. And I looked under it, didn't damage anything. So it's a little weird to me to see an axle tube getting bent in production or anything like that. It's very strange.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you right now, I can weld, but do I know what the hell I'm doing where temperature setting and feed and what's supposed to be given to this type of axle material? And am I getting it hot enough penetration wise? Sure, I can turn that sucker all the way up and turn the feet up and I can let her eat.
Auto.
It'll look
Auto.
good it'll look good when it's done. But do I know that I did the job right? Okay, I'm guessing. I'm just reaching right now. I'm reaching.
Right.
I don't know.
I wonder what happened. I need to inspect mine just to look at it. I haven't even. I have no time.
You see what Brandon said? Just wrap the axle tube in aluminum foil. Don't forget to brush on the Elmer's glue. What's wrong with that guy?
What do you think? What do you think about lifting the truck by the axle? Like it right in the center on the diff.
Yeah.
Lift it up.
Do it all day,
They
babe.
say in the manual don't do it. I think it's because of the gasket in the actual diff cover. If you don't do it right, you can bend that cover because it might hang down a little bit past the casting. So if you
I don't know. Most of the time when I have done it in a pinch, but most of the time when I'm lifting something from a diff, I'm not putting the jack directly on it anyway. Normally I take like a big long ass 2x6 or like a big 4x4 or something like that. And I actually put it on the jack head before I put it up there because I'm always worried about, I'm like weird like that. I'm like, am I going to fuck this thing up, man? I don't want to mess this thing up.
But as far as the actual axle itself, it can carry the weight of the truck right from the center diff.
Well, it's got to hold. It's got to hold that 1050 foot-pounds of torque, then double it or whatever it is when it goes through the transfer case in low gear. So I mean, it's got to be built pretty strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that plenty of times with the center diff.
I've done it all the time.
once you put the bank's aluminum cover, you can't do that anymore. You ain't lying. That's
No.
good luck damaging that expensive item back there and then having to figure out giving it back to the customer and figure out, hey, what the hell happened to my disc?
yeah, that's a good point. I don't see too many of those come in.
No. But somebody asked me the other day, they were like, what kind of rear diff covers on that new 22 F350? And I was like, I don't know, man, but that thing looks pretty damn good. It's got all those cooling fins all over it.
Like,
And
I don't know, man.
it's pretty
Uh,
fancy though.
Yeah, definitely downtime is frustrating for commercial customers. I could definitely second that. I think having a sense of urgency with the commercial customers, the fleet customers, people who are depending on their tow trucks, their boom trucks, especially a lot of the aerial guys, come time in the middle of the spring. We have a lot of thunderstorms and tornado activity, and we have a lot of trees come down. And there is a lot of power companies and utility companies that go down south that have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trucks. And between that and the municipalities, it's very, very important to convey to these customers, to your clients, that their repair is going to be urgently looked at. To convey that to them, we're going to get it in, we're going to get looked at. The steps that it needs to go, or the steps that need to happen in order for the vehicle to get repaired. Intake the vehicle, write the vehicle up, get it back to the technician, let the technician diagnose it. You got to order parts, you got to communicate that, you got to get the part, put the part on, retest. There's a lot going on. And if you communicate, just like what we were talking about with Rich earlier, the communication, you communicate with Ford, you communicate with the customer, the commercial side really appreciates that interaction. Okay, cool, thank you. Unit 21 is not going to be done for another 2 weeks. We're waiting on, da 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 da. Those commercial customers actually wind up bringing their personal vehicles in because of the service that they have on their service truck. Hey, can you guys work on my F-150? Bring it.
They're usually
So-
they're usually the biggest comeback customers of everybody. You just
Everybody.
gotta keep the commercial guys good.
Even the, like he just said,
Unfortunately,
commercial, but the municipalities. We work on all the cop cars, and we got the chiefs, and we got the captains, and we got the sergeants, and we got the patrolmen, their vehicles. It's just kind of word of mouth, I guess. If they drive it forward and you're in the department, fire, they all come to get the vehicle fixed. So it's
Hey,
big
Ford
thing.
boss,
Yes, sir.
it's good to see you, man.
Thanks.
Bro, that video, man. I watched this video, the one with the girl with the guy was revving the engine, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking, like, who's that chick? Like, I didn't realize, I think maybe the volume was off or something. I was just kind of, how it is, you just flick through videos, whatever.
Mhm.
I didn't really know. I just know you posted the video, and I clicked on it and I see this chick smiling, and I'm thinking, like, how does he know her? Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just looking, and then I'm like, all right, then I turned it off, and then I turned it back on. Like, I don't even know. I'm thinking, I don't even know what this video was about. So I flicked through it some more, and then you finally came on, you were talking, and then apparently these people were making fun of this girl. And I'm like blown away. I didn't even think, like, I seen her. I didn't think nothing was wrong with her at all. Like, it didn't even cross my mind that there was something to make fun of. Like, I thought it was like maybe a niece or something of yours. Cause
Yeah.
from my point of view, I just saw this girl smiling in the truck. So no, man,
So-
what a crazy situation.
So to give some context to what DS is talking about, another Ford tech, a diesel tech in another dealership I seen had responded to a 6-liter guy, and the video started out with, "I think she likes my truck," and then he turns his phone sideways, and it's a girl sitting in the passenger seat. She's young. I knew she couldn't be 17, 18, 19 years old, and she's smiling because she loves the fact this truck sounds this good. She's enjoying and the pleasure of hearing, you know, this power stroke and stuff like that. And it's a girl that actually, she's into trucks. She likes what her boyfriend has. And the diesel tech that responded was like, you know, I kind of wish that almost 99% of you guys would just stop following me, because I clicked on this young man's video, and most of you guys that follow me and how toxic you are and how you responded to attacking his girlfriend and saying all these bad things about her and her teeth, and she needs Colgate and all this other stuff. The girl's 17 years old. This is why we have the issues that we have today, because somebody can't even enjoy fun and have friends and family members partake in that without other people attacking them on social media. And I almost clicked away from it and didn't say anything. And I thought to myself, I'm a speaker. I speak out about things that I don't like, on how the techs are dealt with and how, you know, we have to deal with so much stuff and the customers. And I like to talk about things in general. So I said my piece. You know, we had a 13-year-old girl, 12, 13-year-old girl years ago down in South Carolina and Georgia, because of the amount of pressure at school and people picking at her and making fun of her and stuff like that, that recorded the whole entire situation of her leaving her home, putting a camera on a tree stump, and she literally hung herself as the sun faded and it turned dark, and you could see her lifeless body hang from a noose because of everything that she was going through. And now we have grown men and young, stupid teenagers, another guy that's enjoying his power stroke, another guy that's enjoying life, his girlfriend's partaking in his happiness and stuff like that. She likes the truck. And here we have all these grown men, mechanics, young idiots, DIY guys, and everything else that are attacking this young girl in this video and saying all these nasty things about her. And I only have a direct contact with the automotive community the best, because I feel like I relate to people like Cody and A-Rod and DS, because we can all talk about things that happen. And I specified, we cannot let stuff like this go by the wayside. We have to speak up about stuff like this. We have to hold young men and other men accountable, that you don't act like this. You don't participate in this type of behavior. It's not appropriate. You guys have daughters and wives, mothers, nieces, and you wouldn't want this type of stuff to happen to them.
Why even waste the comment?
Why even say anything?
I mean, it's just like the video A-Rod made for the techs on that group on Facebook. He made a video asking for help, or asking why they like their dealership and how we can retain techs.
Oh
and
my
he got
God.
shot down for it. I mean,
Oh, did you?
I got
What if he?
I have a viral video right now, and I spoke about, we make mistakes sometimes as well, and we own up to them. We fix it, okay? We make mistakes. And a hybrid fusion came in a no start condition. Another senior master tech looked at it, and he charged the battery. He found a connection that he thought might have been bad. He didn't find any problem with it. Started the vehicle back up. Everything ran great. He couldn't see anything that was going on. It came back on the hook, and I happened to be standing in the parking lot as the guy was dropping it off. And I'm looking at the vehicle, and I was like, this was just here for a no start concern. Let me just look at some things real quick for this guy. This guy's been under a lot of stress. He's been rebuilding a lot of transmissions. He's been doing the diesel transits. He's been doing the escape stuff, the fusion stuff. This guy's been taking care of everything. Let me look at it for him real quick to see if I can see something to help another tech out. And I made a quick video saying, look, guys, we make mistakes as well. And sometimes it takes a second set of eyes to see something that you may have missed the first time. We ate it. We're taking responsibility. This is me saying we take accountability for what we don't see. And all it was a loose connection at the fuse panel that was shorting out, and it was drawing power. You know, it was causing all kinds of erratic stuff to happen. And all I did was clean the connection up, tighten it up, started right back up. It was a simple thing that he missed, and it started to go nutty viral. Like within a couple of weeks, it was at 200,000 or 300,000 views or something like that, I think. And people were literally attacking me saying, see, these are the stupid technicians that we take our vehicles to. If you were a good technician, you would have never missed that. If you were this, you would have never missed that. Are you not human? Do people not make mistakes?
Well,
I've had plenty of pink.
Like,
I've had plenty of pink sheets. I mean, we all have.
Yeah.
I mean,
You-
look at
Well, the thing is, like, when you're talking about social media, like Ford Boss, A-Rod, me, Cody, we can all kind of take it. You know, there's stuff that we can, you know what I mean? We can handle the comment section, whatever. It's not gonna get up under our skin, really. But I think what really hit home was like, at the end of the day, that's a young lady, and no, we don't know her. She probably just shrugged it off and said, "Whatever, this is social media." But at the end of the day, we don't know the person on the other end. You know that it's not appropriate to talk about a young lady that way.
It's not only
Uh,
that,
I don't know what they were saying.
it's her moment. The video captured a moment in time that she liked, and it was ruined.
Yeah.
It was ruined.
Yeah.
The
We just need
society
to do better.
is messed up. We
just
gotta
need to do
change that.
better. People on my
It's
channel,
like social media is causing some people to kind of lose their minds a little bit. It's a weird thing we're doing right now with social media. And then we have people like Ford Boss, A-Rod, Cody. We're on here. We're I don't know. It's like you're spreading a whole different message. It's not like, yeah, we've got shorts right now and everything that we make on YouTube, but it's not like just some chick shaking her booty, just flashing something real fast, getting a bunch of views. It's like, no, you're actually putting real content out of real value. And you're adding to this whole social media balloon that's just blowing up. But you're adding positivity, I think.
After a pre-fill, I forgot to brake clean the top of my 7.3 oil filter once. Hey, we all make mistakes. Don't hate. You know what Buck Nasty said? Let them haters hate. Hate, 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 hate. Hey, that's cool, man. Keyboard
What
warriors. That's exactly.
what if somebody took the oil filter off and then started brake cleaning the threads and the housing and then put a new one on? That would be bad, I think.
did you
Drama.
pre-fill that filter in dirt, Aaron?
Yeah, that oil filter, as I took it out of the box that hadn't been opened since it was packaged, it really liked the dirty oil that I dispensed out of the totally sealed, clean container that was in a sealed box, that was not leaking, and it just gobbled it right up. So
The FL95 that I have has dust around it. I wonder if it's going to contaminate my injectors.
crashes at Ford Boss Me. It's me, 60 Puller from Discord.
I know him.
I know him.
I know him. What did he say?
He said, I am glad I missed the entire streaming and YouTube thing, but glad young techs like y'all are showing how it's done.
Trying.
Who's going to teach the next generation if we don't?
I mean, I saw it on the internet. The internet should be right?
Dude, what's the deal with this labor
Right.
shortage right now?
Horrible.
Man, I was at the dentist. Even the dentist said they didn't have people.
Because you're
Like-
making more money at home, but we can't go down this path.
Well,
I don't
a
know,
lot of
man.
states quit with the money at home thing.
I don't think that I don't know if that's it, man. We were in a labor shortage before that too.
Well, think about how many places went remote and are still remote and are going to continue to be remote.
I
If
want
you
to ask
could-
a question. Forget that stuff. What kind of boots do you guys wear? I want to know what kind of safety protection, what kind of work boots do you guys wear on a daily basis if you guys are working in construction? Are you guys working in the shop? Are you guys, what kind of work boots are you using? when I first met DS Trucks, he brought me his truck and he gave me a tip. And you know what he gave me? He gave me a $60 gift card to Red Wing shoes. Now I was already wearing Red Wing shoes, so I saved it from my next time. Those are the shoes those are the boots that I wear. I'm going to be actually looking into something, and I want to know what kind of shoes you guys are wearing. What kind of boots? What kind of feeding coverings are you wearing? I want to know, are they oil resistant? Are they
Flip-flops.
slip resistant? Are you wearing Jesus sandals like Rich? He's pulling trans and doing Bronco winches. He's got his, hey, yo, Rich, Jesus called. He says he wants his sandals back. Hey,
Oh,
forget about it. Hey, I want to know what you're
What are
wearing.
you talking about?
Your boots.
No, Rich wears sandals. What are you saying?
No, cool, criminal.
No, yeah,
No,
I do though. I
What do you-
no.
not at work.
So it did actually come from that. On the weekends when I'm at my hobby shop and I'm doing work and stuff, there's sometimes I'm not putting work pants and stuff on. I'm showing up in flip flops and shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm looking like a grease
Word.
ball by the time I go
Word,
home.
word,
So,
word. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
That
Yeah,
was
I
a
work
weird
in
story how we
flip-flops.
met. That was a weird story how we met because I went to drop off the truck and I looked down. We're wearing the same boots. Me and A-Rod were wearing the same exact Red Wing boots. And I thought that was funny. So I got him a gift card to Red Wings, which was kind of weak because $60 doesn't even get you a pair of boots. My bad, man. I must have been hitting
No,
the
you
hard
good, you
times
good.
or something. That's not even
No, you good? I thought it
Hey,
was
can we
an
go half
awesome
on some
gesture.
boots?
Huh?
Can we go half here on some boots? I'll
Yo,
get half, you get
man.
the other half. Here's a gift.
Yo, can we go half on these boots, man?
I
Yeah,
wear redbacks.
you wear what?
I wear redbacks. I tried with Red Wings. I tried
That's
Caterpillar.
funny. Daddy
tried-
Diesel just said that.
Yeah, I wear redbacks. They're based off. I think they're like an Australian Army boot, is what the Mac dealer said.
These
everybody
from
thinks I'm-
Aussie.
Everybody thinks I'm sponsored by Mac because I love their tools. I wear their clothes. I've had the best experience dealing with Mac overall compared to all other dealers. And they seem to this guy.
I wish I could say the same.
Dude, when
So-
you start talking about Mac, I feel like Mac is a drug dealer.
Anyway, so my experience has been pretty good with Mac. And when I seen them on there, I said, I give them a shot. And I have 2 pair now. I absolutely love them. They have
Really?
not wore out since I bought them. I've had them for a year now, a year and a half. And they look like they're brand new out of the box. I literally have to do nothing to them.
Is your Mac man pretty cool?
He's a retired military guy, and he's just as perverted and corny as I am. So we get along great. I mean, this dude, I bought that big giant Torx, like the mini, the stubbies, the intermediate, the long, and then the super long, like all the way up to 70, the T70s, the master kit. And Snap-on wanted like $700. Cornwell wanted like, it was like $600 or something like that. And the Mac dealer was like, look, I got them on sale right now for $375. Done. Sign me up. Every time this dude comes around, he has exactly what I need. And he goes out of his way all the time. $80
Wow.
socket, $55, $60. Nobody else is doing that. Nobody else has done that for me. So I buy all my stuff from Mac.
That's what I had too, brother. We had a Mac man. That's what I got a Tech 1000 and I got a side thing, side cabinet. It's all I had was Mac. That was, well, that was just what I chose to get. Dude, we don't have a Mac man no more. And I
Yeah.
got some broken Mac stuff and I called a Mac man and he said straight up, I'm not warranting your stuff. And I'm like, wait, what?
Send it to me.
I'm like, for real? Yeah,
Send it to me and I'll get it taken care of.
I couldn't believe it. I'll have to do it, man. Couldn't believe it.
This dude, he will warranty every single drill bit in my Cobalt kit where nobody else was doing that. They were stopping at like, what is it, a 1/4 inch or something like that? They do them all. It doesn't matter. As long as you got the shank part on the bottom that actually specifies that it's Mac and what the size is, it's warranted. It does not matter.
Wow, man, I wish he was over here.
He's a
Yeah,
good dude, man.
I went Cornwell because we had a good Cornwell dealer at Roush, and I just started buying whole tons of Cornwell stuff. He's the
We
only
can't
one who
keep
gives me
that.
deal.
We had one that ended up getting like cancer. Another guy ended up having some other medical condition. Some other guy is a fresh tech right out of the field, so he's still trying to figure out how he's supposed to act and stuff. So he shows up and either he's too hard or he's too soft, and then he can't sell. And I'm like, man, I'm not. Then he shows up and he comes and squats down at your feet, and he's got like his tools in front of him, and he's like, "You
Yeah.
see what I have to offer you, sir?" And I'm like,
Yeah, he's got his tote and promote bag with him.
"Go away." Ooh.
That's funny. Oh, great.
Yeah, I put a Craftsman in my trunk back in the day. Craftsman with the drawers. Hit a couple bumps, all the little drawers fall out, go flat. Yeah. So now they become trays. You just take the whole drawer out like a tray. It had the little bars that you slide up in there to hold the trays in. Take them bars out and just take the whole tray out. They've all collapsed. Those ball bearings are so cheap.
Hey,
Take 'em
Papa
in.
Diesel. Papa Diesel right there said, "Send old Daddy Diesel."
Oh,
those
Daddy Diesel.
masterful-
Daddy Diesel. I was thinking about you today because
Daddy
you know what
Diesel got
sounded
you.
super good was a crunchy, crispy, cheesy, overflowing corned beef and Swiss. Bro, we need to hit up the deli, and then I give you my stuff. And then wasn't there something else you said was wrong with your truck? Like a noise? I don't remember.
Hey,
Sounds like
Ford
M
boss,
time.
Yes, sir.
there's one thing that's wrong with my truck right now, my 450.
hmm
I haven't had time to figure it out, think about it or anything, but when I lock, it's got the keyless entry.
hmm
When I unlock the door from the driver's side, only the driver's side unlocks. But when I do the passenger side, all the doors unlock. So I know this is, you know, kind of a goofy problem to have, but I have my hands full. I got 2 kids. I'll be trying to put them in the truck, and then I always reach for it. I unlock it, and then I go to open the back door, and it's still locked. Then I gotta put one of them down, dig out my keys, hit the unlock button. For whatever reason, the driver door doesn't unlock all the doors. Only the passenger door unlocks all the doors.
Isn't that?
Driver door
Are you talking about with the fob or with the button?
with the reach in, you take your hand and you reach in and like feel the inside
Yeah.
plastic thing, and then it's supposed to unlock all the doors, but it on the
That's not
driver's
a
side it just
normal.
unlocks.
That's not a normal parameter characteristic. The driver door is specifically tailored for if the driver wants to get out. But if you're trying to get out from the passenger side, I thought that was a parameter that was set in to
It
where.
could be a parameter, I don't know, but I'm already out the truck. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get in the truck. So when I'm trying to get in to unlock the doors, instead of having to get the key fob out, you can just touch the thing on the inside.
Yeah.
It doesn't unlock all of them. It just hits the driver's side only,
Like the
unless you go to the
intelligent access
passenger.
or something.
Yeah, the intelligent access.
Let
Must
me.
be the operator.
I thought that was something. There was something about that where the driver's side does have that characteristic, and the passenger side does act that. I thought that was a normal parameter that was programmed into that vehicle.
It
And
might be.
I think there's something that you can change about that through the characteristic of the way it reacts. I would have to either go into IDS or Forescan to see that, but I could have swore that something like that was supposed to be normal with the way you're explaining it.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
we've
That's
done
annoying,
stuff
though.
on like we've done stuff on what was it for? I want to say
Scan?
Forescan. I want to say it might have been Forescan where we changed some stuff. So I don't know if that shouldn't have any effect. We just turned up the headlights and stuff, some other weird stuff
Yeah, that's
But-
not gonna do nothing.
that shouldn't do nothing. But yeah, it's just a goofy thing. That's the only real problem I have with that truck. But I don't even know if it's a problem. It could be normal.
If you guys don't know Crashes, he's one of the diesel guys on my channel, and he's also in the Discord group, our private group where we talk about all kinds of random goofy stuff, and including a lot of automotive stuff. But he does a lot of like modifying diesel stuff. They run pull trucks, so that's what he's talking about in that. He said, "I think I'm going to let my daughter run the big pulling truck this weekend, hoping she has better luck than I did 2 weeks ago. He's big into modifying power strokes and stuff like that to make them perform. Just recreational stuff, not on the road stuff. So don't want to get
yeah.
nobody in trouble.
I've never been into one of those things before. I know they look mean seeing that sled go by.
Oh my God. My buddy has a 6-liter. It's all deleted and it's got like the, what is it? Bulletproof kit and bigger. I don't know if it's compound turbos or something like that or whatever. This thing is absolutely freaking disgusting. It's like a jet taking off.
Monster. Let's see here. I think we covered, oh, the meetup tomorrow. I am talking with work. I'm talking with management. I'm talking with the dudes on scene. We're going to see if we can use work, the dealership, as the setting, as the venue, have everybody meet up there here at the Fleet Center outside, maybe have all the trucks. I want to get it going before it gets cold, but I'm going to have some details hopefully Friday this weekend as to what we can do. So stay tuned. I'm going to put that on the community page. Maybe I'll make a little video telling everybody to get at me if they're interested. But yeah, this is probably it. I'll end it. Ford Boss Me, DS Trucks, Cody, everybody in the comment section, everybody showed up. Had 100 of you guys there watching. We appreciate you hanging out. We appreciate you interacting with us. We like to build this community and, really like having a, good group of guys. We can sit here and just BS, one night a week and just chill. If you guys need anything, you know where to hit us up. Remember to catch us on Friday. You guys are going to like it.